Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Friday, October 18th, 2018. Today I'm going to recap last night's clinching LCS Game 5 for the Red Sox against the Astros. Go over last night's big win for the Denver Broncos on Thursday Night Football over the Arizona Cardinals. Go over the NBA slate from yesterday. Look ahead to tonight's slate. Do the same thing for hockey. Go over last night's college football games, get to tonight's games a little bit, and I'm going to pick all the games this weekend within the NFL and college. All right. The Boston Red Sox are off to the World Series for the first time in 5 years with a 4-1 win in Game 5 over the Houston Astros. Congratulations to them. They've earned it. They were the best team in baseball all season. They deserve to be there. David Price gets a win in a big spot. Justin Verlander, a bit of a dud, gets the loss. Craig Kimbrell, a clean ninth inning, and gets the save. Top of the third, home run, J.D. Martinez, 1-0 Sox. Top of the sixth, 3-run home run, Rafael Devers, 4-0 Sox. Bottom of the seventh, home run, Marwin Gonzalez made it a 4-1 game. Boston hangs on and wins. Tonight at 8:30 on Fox Sports 1, you have the Dodgers and the Brewers, Game 6. Dodgers win, they join the Red Sox in the Fall Classic. If the Brewers win, Game 7 would be tomorrow. Heijun Ryu and Wade Miley are your starters. I picked the Dodgers in 6 before the series started, so I'm going to say they win this game and advance to the World Series. So give me the Dodgers in what should be a very entertaining game. The Brewers are going to show up and play hard, and I'm sure Craig Counsell doesn't want his season to end and wants his team to come back and steal the series from the Dodgers. Football, the Broncos defeated the Cardinals 45-10. Denver's 3-4, Arizona's 1-6. Case Keenum, 14 of 21, 161 yards, a touchdown, the pick. Josh Rosen had a terrible game, 21 of 39, 194 yards, a touchdown, and 3 picks. Emmanuel Sanders also threw a touchdown pass in this game to Courtland Sutton. So that was a fun little highlight. So there's your Denver special right there. I'll do my picks for the rest of the Week 7 games in a little bit. NBA, only 3 games on the slate. The 76ers crushed the Bulls, 127-108. Philly 1-1, Chicago 0-1. The best player on the floor was Joel Embiid, 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists. Robert Covington had a nice game, 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. Markelle Fultz hit a 3-pointer in the game. Shot 5 for 15 from the game, 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. Amir Johnson, 13 points, 3 rebounds. Meanwhile, the Bulls, Zach LaVine put up 30, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. Bobby Portis had a nice game, 20 points, 11 rebounds. Jabari Parker off the bench, 15 points, 5 rebounds. The Heat defeated the Wizards 113-112 on a go-ahead layup with 0.2 seconds left by Kelly Olynyk. They're 1-1. Washington's 0-1. Josh Richardson, 28 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Rodney McGruder, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Meanwhile, Washington, John Wall, 26 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists. Bradley Beal, 20 points, a rebound, and 2 assists. Dwight Howard did not play due to his weird infection in his butt. The Blazers defeated the Lakers 128-119. I predicted the TNT doubleheader correct. I'm 4-0 picking TNT games this year. 0-2 with ESPN. Blazers 1-0, Lakers 0-1. LeBron James in his Lakers debut, 26 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. So he had a great game. Damian Lillard led the way for Portland, 28 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. CJ McCollum, 21 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist. Nick Stauskas off the bench, 24 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 for 8 from three-point land. Meanwhile, back to the Lakers, Josh Hart off the bench, 20 points and 4 rebounds. Kyle Kuzma off the bench, 15 points, 5 rebounds. Brandon Ingram, 16 points, 4 rebounds. Javon McGee, 13 points, 8 rebounds. Rajon Rondo, 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 11 assists. Big game Saturday night for the Lakers at home against James Harden, Chris Paul, and the Houston Rockets. Tonight in the NBA, you have the Knicks and the Nets. The Knicks are 1-0, and Nets are 0-1. The Nets got to bounce back here. Hornets and the Magic. Hornets 0-1, Magic 1-0. Hornets lost a heartbreaker at home against the Bucks the other day. 8 o'clock ESPN. The Celtics and the Raptors. Both these teams are 1-0. One with a win over the Cavs. The other has a win over the Sixers. I'm going to take Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors to pull off a home win in front of their home faithful in Drake. That place is going to be rocking tonight. The Hawks and the Grizzlies, 2 terrible teams. The Cavaliers and the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves got to take care of business here tonight to get back to 1-1, or else there's going to be more friction coming out from that locker room. The Kings and the Pelicans. You have Buddy Hield against his former team here. The Kings are 0-1, the Pelicans are 1-0. 8:30 Pacers Bucks. Both these teams 1-0. My projected 4th and 5th teams in the East. 10:30 ESPN. The Warriors and the Jazz. Both teams 1-0. Tough call here, but the Jazz seem to have the Warriors number in their home building. So give me Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz to pull off a mild upset at home over the Golden State Warriors. And the other 10:30 game, Thunder at the Clippers. See if Oklahoma City bounces back after the tough loss to Golden State. And see if the Clippers could bounce back from their tough loss against the Nuggets. NHL. The Penguins defeat the Maple Leafs 3-0. Pittsburgh 3-1-2. Toronto 6-2. Number 1 star of the game with 38 saves. In a shutout, Matt Murray. Number 2 star of the game, 2 goals and an assist of Genny Malkin. Number 3 star of the game, 36 saves on 38 shots, Frederik Andersen. The Avalanche defeat the Devils 5-3. The Avs are 4-1-2. The Devils are 4-1, suffered their first regulation loss of the year. Number 1 star of the game with a hat trick, Gabriel Landeskog. Number 2 star of the game with a goal and 2 assists, Taylor Hall. Number 3 star of the game with a goal and assist, Nico Hischier. The Blue Jackets defeat the Flyers 6-3. Columbus is 4-2. Philly is 3-4. Number 1 star of the game, Cam Atkinson with 2 goals. Number 2 star of the game with 2 assists, Artemi Panarin. And number 3 star of the game with a goal, Anthony Duclair. The Lightning defeat the Red Wings 3-1. Tampa's 4-1. Detroit's 0-5-2. The number 1 star of the game with 29 saves on 30 shots, Andrei Vasilevsky. The number 2 star of the game, Steven Stamkos with the goal. And the number 3 star of the game with 28 saves on 31 shots, Jimmy Howard. The Jets defeated the Canucks 4-1. The Jets are 4-2-1. Vancouver's 4-3. Number 1 star of the game with a goal and assist, Brian Little. Number 2 star of the game with a goal and 2 assists, Dustin Byfuglien. And number 3 star of the game with 26 saves on 27 shots, Connor Hellebuck. The Coyotes defeated the Blackhawks 4-1. This was probably the most surprising result last night. Oh, there was 2 of them. This was one of them. Arizona's 2-4. Chicago's 3-1-2. Antti Raanta, number 1 star of the game, the former Blackhawk, 33 saves on 34 shots. The number 2 star of the game with 2 goals, Vinny Hinostra. And the number 3 star of the game with 27 saves on 30 shots in his first game back, Corey Crawford. The Oilers defeated the Bruins 3-2 in overtime on a goal by Leon Draisaitl to improve to 3-2. Boston's 4-2-1. Number 1 star of the game was Kyler Yamamoto with the goal. Number 2 star of the game with no goals or no assists, which just played a great all-around game, was former Bruin Milan Lucic. The number 3 star of the game with a goal, David Pastrnak. The other surprising result was the Islanders defeating the Kings 7-2. The Islanders are 3-3. The Kings are 2-4-1. Number 1 star of the game, Valtteri Filippo with 2 goals and an assist. The number 2 star of the game with 3 assists, Scott Mayfield. And the number 3 star of the game with a goal and 2 assists, Andrew Ladd. The Sharks defeated the Sabres 5-1 in Evander Kane's first game against the Sabres since the trade last year. San Jose's 3-3-1. Buffalo is 3-4. Number 1 star of the game with a hat trick, Logan Couture. The number 2 star of the game with 2 assists, Brett Burns. And the number 3 star of the game with 24 saves on 25 shots, Martin Jones. Tonight, you only have 3 games. The Panthers and the Capitals. On NBCSN tonight, the Wild and the Stars. Wild are 2-2-2. The Stars are 3-3. I like the Stars here to bounce back on their home floor. Or their home ice, I should say. So, I like Ben Bishop and the Stars there over Devin Dubnyk and the Minnesota Wild. I think that'll be a good game, though. And then 9 o'clock, you have the Predators and the Flames. We'll see if the Flames can beat the Predators for the second time this season. I'm going to go over the college football games from last night. There was only 2 on the slate. Arkansas State defeated Georgia State 51-35. Arkansas State is 4-3. Georgia State is 2-5. Arkansas State's probably the 3rd or 4th best team in the Sun Belt. Stanford defeated Arizona State 20-13. Nice bounce back for Stanford. They're 5-2. Arizona State's 3-4. Arizona State had a chance to tie the game, but they couldn't get out of bounds in time, or else this could have been a different result or overtime at least. Now I'm going to do my picks. I'm going to start with college. And I'm going to start with tonight's slate. The first game tonight is Colorado State and Boise State, 9 o'clock on ESPN2. The pick here is Boise State. They're laying 24 points. The over-under is 64. I'm going to take the over here as my play. Air Force against UNLV, 10 o'clock on CBS Sportsnet. I think UNLV pulls off the upset at home. They're getting 9.5. That's the podcast play. The over-under is 56.5. Saturday's games. You have Michigan at Michigan State. 12 o'clock on Fox. This is a tough call. Big spot. Michigan playing for its playoff lives. Michigan State is playing a little bit of spoiler. I like Michigan to win the game, but the play here is over 41. And Michigan's laying 7 points, by the way. 12 o'clock on ABC, you have Oklahoma at TCU. Possible trap game for Kyler Murray and the Sooners. I'm going to say they get the win here, but TCU covers the 8 points. The over-under is 61.5. Maryland at number 19, Iowa. 12 o'clock on ESPN2. This game, I like the Hawkeyes to win at home. I think they'll cover the 9.5. The over-under is 44.5. Number 20, Cincinnati at Temple, 12 o'clock on ESPNU. Will this be the week the Bearcats suffer their first loss? I'll say yes. Temple wins, and I like them to cover the 3.5. Although that number's a little tricky with the hook, but I don't care. I like Temple at home. The over-under's 48.5. Illinois, number 23, Wisconsin, 12 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. I think Wisconsin wins this game. They're laying 24.5. But I'm going to play the over at 57. Buffalo at Toledo, 12 o'clock. Is this the week where Buffalo finally suffers its first conference loss? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to take Toledo here. They're getting a point. I'll take that point. The over-under is 62.5. Tulsa at Arkansas, 12 o'clock on the SEC Network. Both of these teams have been awful this year. But Tulsa's hung around against a lot of... I think Tulsa's going to win this game outright in Fayetteville. They're getting 7. I'll take the 7. Because I think Tulsa wins outright. The over-under is 55.5. Auburn at Ole Miss, 12 o'clock on ESPN. Boy, has Auburn fallen. Boy, has Auburn fallen. 4-3. They lost at home to Tennessee. Will they even beat Ole Miss at Ole Miss? This is a tough call here, but I'm going to say yes. I'll take Auburn. They're laying 3.5, but I'm going to bet the over 63. Northwestern at Rutgers, 12 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. Rutgers is awful. Northwestern's won their last 2. I'm going to take Northwestern to win. They're laying 20.5, but the play here is over 49. Miami of Ohio at Army, 12 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network. I like Army in this spot. I think they win. I also think they'll cover the 7.5. The over-under is 47.5. North Carolina at Syracuse, 12 o'clock on the ACC Network. I like Syracuse here. I think they'll cover the 10. The over-under is 66.5. Virginia at Duke, 12:30 ACC Network. This is secretly a good game. I like Duke to win on the field. They're laying 7, but I'm going to take the over 44.5. I think Duke can score, and I think Virginia can score too. Idaho State at Liberty. No play on the game, but I'm going to take Liberty. Bowling Green at Ohio, 2 o'clock on ESPN 3. I obviously like Ohio here. In this spot against an inferior opponent, they're laying 16.5. I think they'll cover that with ease. The over-under is 69.5. Utah State at Wyoming, 2:30. Give me Utah State here. They've been pretty good all year. I think they'll cover the 15, but I don't feel good about it. The over-under is 51. FAU at Marshall, also at 2:30. I like Marshall here against the Lane Train. They're getting 3 points at home. Give me those 3 points. The over-under 62.5. Charlotte, Middle Tennessee, 3 o'clock on ESPN 3. Charlotte's pulled off some upsets this year. Not this week. I like Middle Tennessee, and I like them big. The number's pretty big too, 17. I think they'll cover that. The over-under is 48.5. Eastern Michigan at Ball State, 3 o'clock on ESPN+. Ball State pulled off an upset last week. Will they do it again? I'm going to say yes. They need this game in order to make a bowl. They're getting 3 points at home. Give me those 3 points. The over-under is 47. Western Michigan at Central Michigan. 3 o'clock on ESPN+. Western Michigan's been pretty good all year. I think they'll win this game. They're laying 4. I think they'll cover that easily. The over-under is 55. Number 1, Alabama at Tennessee, 3:30 CBS. Due to the injury to Tua Tagovailoa, I think this game will be a lot closer than the experts think. The case against it is that Tennessee has a major letdown after their upset win at Auburn. But if it's Jalen Hurts starting, I think this game can be relatively close for a while, and the Tide pull away. Maybe they get a pick 6 or something. I say Alabama wins, but Tennessee covers the 28.5. The over-under is 57. Number 16, NC State at number 3, Clemson, 3:30 on ESPN. 2 ACC unbeatens. It will decide the Atlantic Division. I really like this Wolfpack team a lot, but I don't think they have the goods to win in Death Valley day or night. Since it's a day game, maybe they have a chance. But I'm going to say Clemson wins, but NC State covers the 17.5. The over-under is 56. Colorado at number 15, Washington, 3:30 on Fox. The Huskies get a bounce-back win here after the tough loss in Eugene. So give me Washington here. They are laying 17.5. I'm going to say that the Buffaloes actually cover, though. The over-under is 50. Number 18, Penn State at Indiana, 3:30 on ABC. Trap game for the Nittany Lions, but will they even bounce back from that tough loss against Michigan State? I'm going to say Penn State bounces back. They're laying 14, but I'm going to take the over 61 as the play here. Penn State wins, but the over happens. Coastal Carolina at UMass, 3:30. This is not a good game. I think Coastal Carolina wins. They're getting 3. I'll gladly take the 3. The over-under is 71.5. That's pretty high. Houston at Navy, 3:30 on CBS Sportsnet. I want to pick Navy to win the game. I think Houston wins. Navy covers the 11.5. I just don't think it's Navy's year. SMU at Tulane, 3:30 on ESPNU. I like Tulane here in this spot. They're laying 7. I think they win the game, but the play here is over 57. Akron at Kent State, 3:30 on ESPN+. Akron is the obvious choice here. Kent State is one of the 5 worst teams in the sport. So give me Akron here, and I think they'll cover the 5 with ease. The over-under is 52. Louisiana at Appalachian State, 3:30 on ESPN+. I like Appalachian State. I think they'll cover the 25.5. The over-under is 68. UTEP at Louisiana Tech, 3:30 on ESPN+. UTEP, one of the worst teams in the country. I think Louisiana Tech wins and covers the 23.5 with some ease. The over-under is 48. Wake Forest at Florida State, 3:30 on ESPN2. Florida State seems to have turned the corner a little bit with some wins here. I think they win here. They're laying 10. 10's a tricky number, but I'm going to play the over 59. Minnesota at Nebraska, 3:30 on the Big Ten Network. Is this finally the week that the Huskers get in the win column? Yes, they will. Nebraska wins. They're laying 4, but the play here is over 54. Kansas at Texas Tech, 3:30 on Fox Sports 1. I think that Texas Tech will obviously win the game. Kansas is still Kansas. Tech is laying 18. But you know what? Kansas unders have been coming in. So have Tech unders. I can easily see this game being like a 35-13 type of game. So that could be an under. So give me Texas Tech and under 59. Memphis at Missouri, 4 o'clock on the SEC network. I think Missouri wins the game, but I say Memphis covers the 9.5. That number's too big. The over-under is 73. Cal at Oregon State, 4 o'clock on the Pac-12 network. I think this is the week where Jonathan Smith finally gets a conference win. They've been close a couple times, so I'm going to say Oregon State finally gets it. They're getting 7.5. I'll take it. The over-under is 58.5. Georgia Southern at New Mexico State, 4 o'clock. Georgia Southern has been rolling lately. I think they get the win, but New Mexico State covers the 11. The over-under is 54.5. Mississippi State at number 5 LSU, 7 o'clock on ESPN. A possible letdown spot for the Tigers after their big win over Georgia. But I'm going to say they survive here barely. So give me LSU to win, but Mississippi State to cover the 6.5. The over-under is 45. Number 10, UCF at East Carolina, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. UCF has been awesome all year. I don't see this as a trap spot at all. I like East Carolina offensively, but I'm going to say Central Florida wins the game. They're laying 21.5, but the play here is over 64.5. UConn at number 21, South Florida, 7 o'clock on CBS Sportsnet. UConn is obviously the worst team in the AAC. I'm going to say that the Bulls win big. They're laying 34, but I'm going to say under 69 is the play here. I'm going to say South Florida wins like 50-14. That gets the under. Or maybe something like 45-20. That could do it too. But it's going to be something like that where the under cashes in. UTSA at Southern Miss, 7 o'clock on ESPN+. UTSA has not been good this year. Southern Miss hasn't really been great either. I'm going to say Southern Miss wins. They're laying 17.5. The over-under is 44. But I'm going to take the Roadrunners to cover the big number at 17.5. But Southern Miss wins. Maybe like a 38-24 type of game. Texas State at Louisiana Monroe, 7 o'clock on ESPN3. Texas State is one of the other worst teams in the country. So UL Monroe's the easy pick. I think they covered the 10.5. The over-under 60.5. Number 2, Ohio State at Purdue, 7:30 on ABC. I really like this spot for both these teams, ironically enough. I like Ohio State to win the game. They're laying 12.5. The over-under 68.5. I'm going to say, for the pick though, under 68.5. I don't feel great about it. But Ohio State wins. Number 12, Oregon at number 25, Washington State, 7:30 on Fox. Game day finally heads to Pullman. 15 years in the making. The old Crimson flag. You know the story. Now the question is, will they coug it? Coug it, as we know, is a phrase in which Washington State blows a game that they should win. I'm going to say they don't coug it and get the win. I like Washington State here. They're -3, the over-under 68. At this spot, I'm going to take the -3, but I don't feel great about it. Vanderbilt at Kentucky, number 14 Kentucky, I should say. 7:30 on the SEC Network. Kentucky has been great this year. They're still alive in the college football playoff hunt, amazingly enough. I'm going to say they get their big win here. They are laying 11.5. I think they cover that. The over-under is 47. Fresno State at New Mexico, 7:30 on ESPNU. Fresno State's been dominant at home this year. On the road, they're not really as great. I'm going to say they win here, but New Mexico covers the 13.5. New Mexico's been picking people off this year. I think they cover the 13.5. The over-under is 52.5. Rice at FIU, 7:30 on ESPN+. Rice is one of the worst teams in the country. I think FIU wins. They're laying 23.5, but the play here is over 53.5. North Texas at UAB, 7:30. North Texas has been on the roll, but they just lost their star running back. So I'm going to take UAB to win. They'll cover the 1.5, and I think they win this by at least 7 points. The over-under is 54.5. I think UAB minus the 1.5 is a steal. Old Dominion at Western Kentucky, 7:30 on ESPN+. Both of these teams have just been hot garbage this year. I'm going to say Western Kentucky wins. They're laying 5, but the play here is over 56. USC at Utah, 8 o'clock on the Pac-12 Network. It's rare where a USC conference game is on the Pac-12 Network in primetime, but that's the case here. I think a lot of that is to do with ESPN's schedule and Fox's schedules for the week. If not for LeBron James's homecoming with the Lakers or a possible Game 7 in the NLCS, maybe this game would be on either Fox Sports 1 or ESPN. But, nope, here we are. I'm going to say Utah wins. They're laying 7, but I'm going to play over 48. Arizona at UCLA, 10:30 on ESPN2. No Khalil Tate for the Wildcats. Will Chip Kelly get his second win in a row? Yes, sir. UCLA will win. I think they'll cover the 9.5 with some ease. The over-under is 57. San Jose State at San Diego State, 10:30 on CBS Sportsnet. San Jose State is one of the worst teams in the country. San Diego State is one of the better group of 5 teams in the country. I think they win. I think they'll cover the 27.5. The over-under is 42.5. Nevada at Hawaii at 11:59. I wrote on my blog post Hawaii, but I think Nevada actually wins the game. So I messed up there. So I'm going to say Nevada wins. They cover the 3, obviously. The over-under is 67. Now on the NFL. New England at Chicago, 1 o'clock on... Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. London. Tennessee at the Chargers, 9:30 in the morning on CBS. Tennessee is coming off the shutout loss against the Ravens. The Chargers are coming off a win in Cleveland against the Browns, in which they dominated. I'm going to say the Chargers get the win in London, and they'll cover the 6.5. The over-under is 45. 1 o'clock on CBS, New England at Chicago. New England coming off the big home win over the Chiefs. Chicago's coming off their trap game loss in Miami against the Dolphins. I want to pick the Bears here, but they have some injuries, and that's not a good sign. So give me the Patriots here. And I'm going to say... Oh, I forgot to give out scores. I'm going to say the Chargers beat Tennessee by a score of 30-17. And I'm going to say the Patriots beat the Bears in Chicago 27-20. So they'll cover the 3. Cleveland at Tampa Bay, 1 o'clock on Fox. Baker Mayfield is probable, so that's a good sign. Cleveland is coming off a bad home loss against the Chargers. Tampa Bay coming off the road loss in Atlanta against the Falcons. I think the Browns pull off the upset here, giving me Cleveland by a score of 33-27. In what should be a high-scoring affair, and I think Cleveland obviously covers the 3.5. Detroit at Miami, 1 o'clock on Fox. Brock Osweiler in again. Does Miami win again is the question. I'm going to say Brock, yeah. In Brocktober, baby. Let's go with the Dolphins by a score of 26-20. I think Detroit is looking ahead a little bit. I think they, like the Bears, will look by the Dolphins. So give me Miami. I think they cover the 3. The over-under is 46.5. Carolina at Philadelphia, 1 o'clock on Fox. This is actually a pretty good game. Carolina's coming off the rough loss in D.C. against the Redskins, Landover. Philadelphia coming off that big win in East Rutherford against the hapless Giants. I like the Eagles here in the spot. I'm going to say the Eagles win this game by a score of 27-24. But I'm going to take the over 45.5 as the play here. Buffalo at Indianapolis, 1 o'clock on CBS. No Josh Allen. Derek Anderson's getting the surprise start here. I love the Colts here big. They had a tough loss last week against the Jets. Buffalo lost in Houston against the Texans. So give me Indy and Indy big. 33-16. And I think they'll cover the 7.5 with some ease. The over-under is 43. Minnesota at the Jets, 1 o'clock on Fox. Minnesota coming off a win at home against the Cardinals. The Jets are coming off a home win over the Colts. This could be a trap game for the Vikings, but I'm going to say that they get the win here. Led by Kirk Cousins. 26-20 is my final score. The over-under is 46. I actually have the score 26-20, so I can't touch that. So I'm going to say that Minnesota covers the 3.5, although I'm holding my breath there. Houston at Jacksonville, 1 o'clock on CBS. Houston coming off the big win over the Buffalo Bills to get back to 500. Jacksonville had a terrible loss in Dallas against the Cowboys. I'm going to say Houston pulls off the upset. I don't like how Jacksonville's looked at all. So give me the Houston Texans 24-20 over Jacksonville. I think they'll obviously cover the 4.5 because I have them winning outright. The over-under is 41.5. 4 o'clock games, New Orleans at Baltimore. 4 o'clock on Fox. The Saints are coming off their bye. 2 weeks ago, they had the Monday night home win over the Redskins. Baltimore's coming off a shutout win over the Titans. I just think the Titans stink. But anyway, I like Baltimore in this spot at home. I'm going to say they get the win here in a high-scoring affair, 30-26. The over-under is 49.5. I think that easily goes over. I think there's a chance the Saints cover. The point spread is 2.5 in favor of the Ravens. Dallas at Washington, 4:25 on CBS. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo on the call. So they're calling a Cowboy game for the second straight week. Dallas is coming off a dominating home win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Washington coming off a nice home win over Carolina. I see a letdown here for Dallas. They're not very good on the road. It's weird that Washington's only laying 1. This is my lock in terms of ATS. My lock in terms of straight up has not come yet. So give me Washington here. Let's say 27-20. I think they cover that point easily. The over-under is 41.5. Rams at the 49ers, 4:25 on CBS. No Jimmy Garoppolo, obviously. C.J. Beathard played a great game last week. The Rams are coming off the win in Denver against the Broncos. 49ers competitive in their loss against the Packers on Monday Night Football. I'm going to say the Rams win here. And I think this is my lock of the week. Straight up lock of the week. So give me 30-20 Rams. They'll cover the 9.5. Barely. I don't feel good about that one. Sunday night, this game was flexed. Cincinnati at Kansas City. 8:20 NBC. Cincinnati coming off the tough home loss against the Steelers. Kansas City coming off the tough loss in New England against the Patriots. I absolutely love the Chiefs here. I think they win. And I think they win big. Let's say 34-20. The over-under is 58. I'm going to say they cover the 6, so that's your play. And Monday Night Football is a bad one. The Giants at Atlanta, 8:15 ESPN. Joe Tessitore, Jason Witten, Booger McFarland, Lisa Salters. The Giants are coming off just a terrible performance on Thursday Night Football at home against the Eagles. Atlanta coming off a much-needed win against the Bucs at home. I think Atlanta gets to 3-4 here to put themselves back in the conversation in the NFC playoff picture. So give me Atlanta here by a score of, let's say, 34-27. So I think the Giants will keep it competitive this week. And Atlanta covers the 4, but barely. The over-under is 54. All right, that's it. I'm going to be back tomorrow recapping LCS Game 6, NBA, NHL, and the 2 college games, and go over anything else that happens in the world of sports. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.